If you're watching this video, you will have completed step 1. You will have completed the main structure of your mask. You will have made this as 3D as possible using a variety of unusual shapes and forms from your recycling bin. And you will have considered using some unusual techniques such as cutting strips, folding, rolling curls, cutting unusual shapes, cutting parts in half, and so on and so forth. At this stage, you might want to add a bit more to the form of your mask, a bit more detail, and to make it a bit more imaginative. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do this by adding paper mache to your initial structure. What you'll also find is that this will make the mask a lot stronger when it dries. This took me around an hour and a half to do, but about 2 days for it to dry properly. Okay guys, so we're going to be adding a layer of paper mache onto our African Romuald Hazoume inspired mask. I don't actually have the materials to make paper mache. One of the materials you need is newspaper, if you've got newspaper. Amazing, that's the best thing to use. Or tissue paper. I haven't got any of that. I've just got toilet roll. Now, toilet roll is quite a rare commodity at the moment, so if you can spare it, great. But most of you will have this at home, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to leave that over there. Now, if I was going to make paper mache normally, obviously you need a tub, I would use PVA glue, just normal craft glue, pretty cheap, okay. So I'm lucky enough, oh, I need a bit of a shake there. Okay, so I'm lucky enough to have some PVA glue to hand. So I'm going to give that, if you do have PVA glue, great. That's the best stuff to use. So with PVA glue you need a good splodge of glue and about the same amount of water. You don't want it to be too thick, you don't want it to be too runny, but you want to make it runny enough that you can use with your newspaper so that it'll absorb and it'll stick on. So that's about the right kind of consistency for my PVA glue, okay? But I imagine that quite a lot of you won't have PVA glue at home. So you're thinking, okay, well I want to do the paper mache bit, but how am I going to make the paper mache kind of glue stuff, that paste that you need? Well, I had a little look online and it turns out that actually all you need is 1 cup of water and another cup of flour. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add my flour first. Okay, it's going to be quite a lot of paper mache paste. It also says to add a little bit of salt, and I bet you're wondering, okay, why do I need salt? Well, apparently it just stops it from going mouldy, so I'm going to add a little bit of that as well. Okay, I'm then using the same brush, going to just pour my water in bit by bit and mix it in at the same time. Okay, so we're adding the water in gradually so it doesn't go too lumpy. It says you want it so that it's not too thick and not too thin. We need it to be the same kind of consistency as the PVA glue paper mache. So, okay. So there you go, that's the kind of consistency of paste you're going to need. Okay, the good thing about using an ice cream tub is I've already got a lid that I can put on it. Make sure you use a tub that's got a good lid so you can save some for later. Okay, and I'm just going to put this to one side until I'm ready. So I'm in my kitchen. I've got something covering the surfaces because this is messy. I've got the paste I made earlier with my brush. I've got my toilet roll and I've prepared strips by cutting a stack of sheets into 4 along the length. The more detailed you go, the smaller the strips will need to be. Equally, for bigger bits, you'll need whole sheets of loo roll and so on, so adjust it as you see fit. Now, I've been inspired by the expressions on my drummer masks, so my first step is to add raised, curved forms around the fruit shoot eyes to give some idea of expression for my mask. I used whole sheets of toilet roll to fill in the spaces underneath, scrunching into a ball shape, then dipping it into the paste before sticking it down. I then roll a twisted tube from a sheet of toilet paper, add paste and then press it in so it begins to form a curved eyebrow above the eye. I build this up to get this really high, to make it really 3D and compare each side to one another so it looks fairly symmetrical. I now start to add my strips, almost like sellotape to secure my forms in place. As well as securing the paper mache forms, you also want to use your strips to secure your recycled objects to the milk bottle to make that connection stronger. Do this section by section, painting plenty of paste on the mask first. Then press the strip on with your fingers and use your paintbrush loaded up with plenty of paste to secure this into position. Try not to overdo it with the brush though, as the toilet roll is delicate and will break and make the texture too rough. You may find that some of the sellotape you used in step 1 is getting in the way a bit. Don't be afraid to trim bits down or cut them away entirely as you go along. Artists need to develop skills of reviewing and improving work as they go along. This is called refining. As I'm going along, I realise I actually need to use smaller strips, so I cut some of the strips I made earlier in half to prepare another pile. Make sure you turn your mask around to get a better view when needed. Now that I'm almost finished, I decide to add a bit more detail on my horns to add more character. I use one of the smaller strips I prepared earlier and twist this to add concentric coils around the horns and some raised lines around the forehead. I secure this in place with even smaller strips. So there you go. Give it a full 2 days to dry and then you can move on to step 3, which is to decorate it any way you want by painting, sticking on craft materials, coloured paper, the sky's the limit. But if you don't have art materials at home, or if you're just curious, watch the step 3 video to see what I did.